Well, a very good afternoon to you, good morning to you, wherever you might be listening to this podcast. Natalie Ashdown here with you from the Open Door Coaching Group. Whether you are listening to this live with us on a quite chilly Friday afternoon, or you're listening to us on your favourite podcast or streaming service, welcome to the Coaching Cafe. Today we are talking about best practice in coaching culture. We're continuing our conversations that we've been having over the last few weeks, and we're talking about today creating that force multiplier effect in our coaching. So I look forward to joining you and having this discussion, and welcome to the line our resident HR specialist Paula Jones-Hunt. Thank you once again for joining me.
Very happy. It is about 25 degrees in Perth today, so a little bit warmer.
As always, we are very jealous. So, and as always, let me begin by acknowledging the traditional owners the traditional owners, the custodians on the lands on which we're all meeting today, and their continuing connection to the land, waters, and communities of Australia, and the lands from all around the world upon which you might be joining us from our international communities. We pay our respects to them, to their elders past, present, and emerging, and elders from Indigenous communities from around the world. And I've been very fortunate this week to actually be tripping around Australia. I've been delivering different programs and having meetings on different lands all around Australia, and I'm always grateful when I land in a new state. So, yeah, very grateful. So let's carry on and talk about today's agenda. We want to continue our discussion around coaching culture, particularly talking about best practice in coaching culture. And I want to introduce you to this term that you may have heard us talking about, but it is around creating that force multiplier effect and the impact that a program like the Leader as Coach program can actually have on the rollout of coaching culture. As you know, if you are a regular, we are all about creating a community, sharing our learned experience with each other. You can interact with us by popping your messages into the chat box, and we will pick those up as we go along. And we gather here every Friday, or perhaps on your favourite podcast and streaming service, to really keep our professional development going on a weekly basis as coaches, and to have those thought-provoking conversations. Of course, if you are interested in the ICF continuing coach education points and professional development, then we have those available to you at the end of the session if you're listening live. So let's get into the topic of the day, because we only have a short time to talk about this really important topic. The last few coaching webinars that you might have been listening to, we've been talking about the coaching culture framework, and this is a really important framework that we've introduced many years ago. Actually, you can pick it up on our website at opendoorcoaching.com.au, and how we have a number of different things that actually enable the workforce strategy, organizational values and visions, and create those organizational artifacts, with the glue in the middle being coaching principles. And yes, welcome, Mez. Shout out to those people who are joining us for the first time. So, of course, we have regulars from our alumni that join us every Friday. We love being here for you all and stretching our professional development, but we certainly welcome all of our new people, and we hope that you'll be joining us time and time again. So yeah, thanks Mez for that shout out, and very excited to be having you join us. So feel free to join in on the chat box. So as we're talking about the coaching culture framework, it's a framework developed by Open Door that we use when we think about the implementation of coaching into our organizations. And what we're focusing on over the last few weeks is the lower half of the diagram, which is where we are implementing things into our organizations, such as individual and team coaching, coaching in business units, becoming an accredited coach trainer, or doing your qualification. And also, one of the major ways that we can create coaching within our organization and create that force multiplier effect is by implementing Leader as Coach programs, or Coaching 101 programs, or Manager as Coach programs. And it really is best practice to do this. Many organizations internationally, and in Australia and around the world, have introduced a Leader as Coach or a Coaching 101 program. to create this thing that we call a force multiplier effect. So just to tell you, it's a military term. Actually, we first learned about the term when we were through all of the work we've been doing with Air Force over about the last 8 years. And a force multiplier is, I'll just read it out for you. It's a factor that dramatically increases the power of the forces or resources at a team's disposal. It's a synergistic element that increases the effectiveness and potentially provides a competitive advantage. So if you can think about in a military context, this might be introducing a new piece of equipment or a new piece of technology, a new way of engaging that increases the power or the forces of the resources at the team's disposal. And for Air Force, we know that is in protecting our country. So we really do see something like a leader as coach or a coaching 101 program as being that factor, that series of events and workshops that we can introduce that dramatically increases the power, the forces or resources at the team's disposal. So when we think about that, what are we dramatically increasing? What are we dramatically enabling is what we need to think about. And Paula, we've just been having this conversation literally in the office just as we're preparing for the conversation. And what it makes me think about here is Sir John Whitmore. Bless him, he's passed away now, but you know, the person who's regarded as the founder of coaching. And I remember him telling me that, you know, anyone can read out the GROW model. Anyone can know the GROW model. In fact, maybe we've introduced a leader as coach or a coaching 101 program a few years ago and people were introduced to the GROW model. But that doesn't make them a coach. It doesn't actually mean that they're coaching. So now we're thinking about this force multiplier effect. We might have done some coaching, but Paula, I want to throw this to you. Why do you think that we need to be doing leader as coach programs? Why do we need to be implementing this force multiplier effect into organizations? What's the problem? What's still going on in our workplaces?
Yeah, I think there's lots of things still going on. I think if you think, I mean, leadership isn't a destination, it's a journey, and you need to grow and develop and continuously build your skills in that space. And all people are different. And I think the key here is that the biggest problem for managers is that they have to actually lead and manage people differently based on their requirements. And so you need a set of skills that will allow you to do that. And coaching is one of those really cool skills that actually works across the board. So you can use it with new staff, you can use it with staff who've been there for a long time, you can use it with high performers, you can use it with people who need to lift their performance. So, and the thing about it is that managers are still taking on too much. They're taking on the problems and not getting their team to solve the problems themselves. They're still struggling with how to communicate with people, how to bring out their best, how to grow, develop them, how to really communicate effectively, particularly in team meetings. So it's also about creating a great language amongst leadership teams. So there's me leading my team, but then how do I contribute in my leadership team, and how do I contribute upwards as well? And you can use coaching in that space. And once you start doing that, that's when you hit that multiplier effect. If I'm being a great coach, if I'm coaching my team, if they're coaching their team, you get that multiplier effect moving through the organization.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was actually delivering a workshop yesterday, and someone came up to me on the break and talked about a manager who is super detailed. So we were delivering a strengths-based coaching workshop, but someone who's really super detailed and can't seem to let go, can't seem to delegate, they want to take it all on, solve the problem. And what that means is that manager is actually being ineffective because they're not really leading their team to do the detail. They're doing it all themselves. And they went so far to say, if this manager's off doing the detail and his team is walking around going, well, what are we supposed to be doing? Shouldn't we be doing that? But the lack of delegation, then there was lack of feedback. And this is going on within our organizations. It's not new. When we're trying to introduce change, there's lack of communication. We're always coaching people around trying to understand different personality types. This person's really direct. So I was told yesterday about a person who was really direct, and that person is rubbing the team up the wrong way. They're starting to annoy the team. They're worried about bullying and complaints. So these kind of problems and concerns that are going on still in our workplaces, I actually believe can be solved by doing something as basic as a coaching 101 or a leaders coach program, starting to give managers who maybe they've seen it before, but starting to refresh them with their skills. For some people, it's actually giving people skills that they haven't had before. So still yesterday, I was introducing to a group of about 50 people in the room. This is a great way that you can approach the conversation. Think about, what are you trying to achieve? Talk to the person about what's happening now, and then try to generate some options and the way forward. And guess what? I just did, everybody on the line knows, I just did a GROW, but I'm in a room with 50 people who hadn't heard about that. So the force multiplier effect for me is me being in a room, talking and communicating with 50 people about a framework, an option, a solution, that if they implemented those great coaching questions could make a difference. So I've shared the idea with 50 people. They go out and actually talk to 50 different people. And now this one small workshop that we've done has got that multiplier effect. It's something that, it's a set of resources that we're giving people, the coaching questions, and it dramatically increases the power as I coach one person and then they go and coach others. So I know that people left that room yesterday thinking, I've got this person, I've got that person, I've got someone who I could use that with that person. And that's actually what we're trying to do and trying to generate. And I know there's a lot of alumni on the line and you're listening to this and you're thinking, yep, we do that. I suppose my message today is also, let's keep it up. Let's keep up that momentum. Let's redo our Leader as Coach or our Coaching 101 programs as refreshers, because it's still really needed in our workplace. And also because we know it's best practice as well. So I'm keen to hear anyone's thoughts or comments about that. As well. Yes, and people are actually suggesting to me also, just a shout out to those that didn't receive their CCU certificate last week. We can definitely sort that out for you as well, no worries. By the way, if you haven't listened to last week's Coaching Cafe, I interviewed Andrea Hutton, and she was talking about how we can coach young people at risk, enable choices, grow and develop people. And it's probably one of the most inspirational coaching cafes I have ever done. So I really recommend you take that time out to listen to it. The words and the wisdom that Andrea have are applicable to our conversation today. They're applicable not only to coaching young people at risk, but coaching across the board. So it's such an inspirational message. I just want to shout that out again to you. We can apply it to all of our different contexts, parenting or in our volunteer work, whatever it might be. And with that in mind, Leader as Coach programs, these Coaching 101 programs, are often applicable across hierarchies. They're applicable across cultures. They're applicable for everyone in our workplace, for either from a refresher point of view or to introduce new skills to people. So we are talking about, yes, Georgia, as you say, inspiring those coaching opportunities in everyday conversations in the workplace. I couldn't have said it better. So that's wonderful. Thank you. So Paula, let's go on, shall we? Let's talk about, okay, so I'm sold. I believe in it. I want to introduce my managers to Coaching 101. I want them to communicate more effectively. I want them to deal with feedback and have those conversations. I want them to stop taking on all the problems. I want to actually get them to enable people, build accountability. I want to build high performance. Now, it's not just pie in the sky, is it, Paula? We have got organisations, and you've been involved in rolling out these programs as well. So people go, oh, you know, is all that possible? What's your answer when people say, is it all possible to do this?
Well, it's definitely possible. And it really is about it just getting started. So start with a pilot group and then see what that effect makes. And if you're a HR person and you need to talk to people about return on investment and that you need to be able to demonstrate that it's going to make a difference, if you start with a pilot, that's a really great way of doing it. And my little tip for starting with a pilot too is pick some people who will be great champions of the program, but also pick some skeptics who through the program may become are likely to become champions at the end, because you don't just want all the people that people go, oh yeah, we know, they love it, whatever. You want some people to come onto the program who will be able to see the benefits of the program and be able to talk about it. So starting with a pilot is the perfect way to do it, and then you build from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do agree with you. My research in my doctorate work is actually suggesting, yeah, exactly what you said. Pick those people who are keen, they're willing to learn, but they also have a thirst or a want to actually grow and develop people. At the same time, if you do happen to pick up the skeptics and you can turn them around, the skeptics might be sitting there going, well, we know this, we know all this, but are they actually implementing? Are they actually doing it? And I really doubt that they are, because if they were, they would be seeing the results. So yeah, there's a group, there's different target groups we can go for as well. Starting with a pilot is an excellent idea. We know that that's what happened at Air Force quite a few years ago. Shout out to the Air Force coaches who are listening. Over 9,000, so a pilot with 16 people in the room turned into 9,000 people being exposed to the coaching skills. 9,000 people making a difference, or with the opportunity to make a difference, as Georgia says, in everyday conversations in the workplace. So that is what we call a force multiplier effect for sure. So let's move on. Let's talk quickly. If you were going to pick your top 5, Paula, I'm assuming, and people can jump in here and tell us what they think their top 5 might be. But Paula, would your number 1 be the GROW model?
It would. Because it means you can really have great conversations with your team. The GROW model doesn't, lots of people think, well, it's an executive coaching session, it's going to take me an hour. You can have a really great GROW model conversation in 5 to 7 minutes. If that's all the time you've got, then you can really get a lot out of that 5-minute conversation. And it really is just a great framework to cover all the bases. So you talk about, what is it you want to talk about? What's the reality? What are the options? And what are you actually going to do? And when are you going to do it? Number 1.
Yeah, we could do that in everyday conversations. Absolutely. I'm keen to hear from the alumni. Would you pitch the GROW model as your, what is the number 1 tool that we need to be including in a Leader as Coach program? Feel free to jump in and tell us what you think. Number 2, Paula, what would you, everyone says fan of the GROW. Combining SBI, so situation, behaviour, impact. Thanks, Marissa. Yeah, that's a good one too. Ian's jumped in and said, yep, absolutely, GROW model, foundational tool. Georgia agrees. Yeah, so we should be doing a poll. I just thought about that right now. Anyway, all right, everybody. What about the Tao coaching, Annie? Oh, absolutely. Oh, I love that book as well. The way of coaching is the grow model. Thanks, Danny. Great to see you. All right, everybody, what do you reckon? Number two, what would you go with if you were going to say, I can only have 5 coaching tools? It's like we're going on a desert island with our 5 coaching tools. What do you reckon? What would you throw? Paula, what would you throw in as number 2?
Oh, super hard. It's well, I'm going to combine the above the line, below the line with
Yes,
reframing.
yes. Yep. I reckon I would agree with that as well. I would definitely go. Shouted out happy, sad, happy. Yeah, okay. Look, yeah, I'm tempted. With happy, sad, happy as well. Marie's jumped in and said you can add resources. Oh, excellent. So yeah, creating that fourth multiplier effect, you can add resources. What resources do you need to the grow model? So definitely you can expand that out as well. Yeah, Annie agrees with you, above the line, below the line. Look, I'm going to vote for above the line, below the line as well. Sorry, my slides just my slides were just reversed there. Yeah, I definitely think above the line, below the line. We need to be getting people to be accountable. We need people to be building their resources, finding solutions, finding options, turning around that negativity. So the reframing kicking in there as well. All right, I've already thought. I've already put the answer up for those people that can see what my opinion is. Number 3, what do you reckon? I have suggested it's a SMART goal. So we need SMART goals. We need to be really thinking about what do we need to achieve. Mez agrees, SMART goals. Marissa says definitely SMART goals. What do you reckon, Paula? Would you put SMART goals at number 3?
Yes, I would. And if I just go back to the above the line, below the line, there are managers out there who are dying in meetings because it doesn't matter what they present. Everyone is below the line about it. So it is such a good tool in meetings. So because all you're wanting to do is to get people up thinking about the options moving forward, and it just changes the room. So I'm just throwing out that, I'm just reiterating that one at number 2. And SMART goals, absolutely. This is about helping your people be really realistic and know exactly what they want to do and how they're going to do it in a way that sets them up for success. So absolutely.
Yeah, 1981, the concept of SMART goals was actually coined in a management, like an information technology and management magazine, from an engineering perspective. And then, coaches around the world got hold of the SMART model and went, I think we can use this. And leaders said, I think we can use it in different contexts. I think the SMART goal, an oldie but a goodie, we definitely need to do it. Making, as Annie says, making things doable, making sure that it's great to have all these options, it's great to have a way forward, but is the goal actually doable in the first place? And everybody knows, anyone that has coached me, you definitely need to make my goals SMART, because I'm big picture, big vision, and everybody, people might know, actually, I once said, I never let reality get in the way of a goal. So yes, the R in a SMART goal, and putting a time frame around things. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so people are trying to jump in now and go, what's number 4? And we have got some votes for ears. Yep, the alumni are coming in nice and strong. Oh, I really like. Oh, I might change my mind, actually, because I would put ears in there. I really
I
would.
think I like the idea of ears in there because it's about the continuing conversation. It's not just about you have a coaching conversation. I love that it's the link to the next conversation.
Yes. So for those of you who aren't familiar with ears, we are all ears. We're trying to find out what the person has done since we've seen them last. How did they go? Amplify their success, reflect on their learnings, those kind of things. A real bridge between, a real bridge between the last conversation we had and the next conversation. People are jumping in. George is a fan of WDEP. Oh, you're really making me work hard now, because I, I love ears and WDEP. WDEP, short, sharp model for what is it you want to do, what direction are you taking, how's that working for you. All right, look, I agree with you. I might have to change my slides. I have actually gone for 5 levels of conversation. So I've actually put as number 4, if I can make my slides jump forward, the 5 levels of conversation. And I think that I would put this one there because we built it into Air Force's program. The 5 levels of conversation, I think, actually now helps people generate questions across the different levels. So generate questions around facts, thinking, feelings, the higher purpose. I feel like from an everyday conversation point of view, getting people to generate their own questions and their own coaching bank is the way to go. But now you've really got me thinking, because I obviously do ears and REDEP on a daily basis. So I might definitely got those in there as well. And I think it's great. We've got this massive toolkit that we can actually use on an everyday coaching conversation. Go on, Paula.
I'm so with you, because I love the 5 levels of conversation, and I love the concept that you're tapping into head, heart, gut. You really and thinking about, what does this mean? It's that inner conversation that says, now, what does this mean for you? What changes are you going to make? Or we needed the top 10, Natalie.
I know. Okay, we can only take 5 coaching tools to a desert island. So I kind of feel like 5 levels of conversation is giving me some more flexibility there, because it allows me to create my own coaching bank, very specific to the organization as well. So that's why I put it in there. But yeah, those people who are saying we're deaf in ears, look, they're definitely up there as well. And the 5 whys. Now, okay, Marissa, I'm not taking 5 whys. And the reason for that, for what it's worth, is that after about the 2nd or the 3rd why is starting to kind of annoy me. So yes, I'm not taking the 5 whys, but some people love that tool. I find that the whys create justification, starts to create I have to justify myself. I need to, give you reasons, etc. So, yeah, I think those people that use it and use it effectively, I agree with you. Yeah, she says totally fair. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it on a desert island. Make it the 3 whys instead. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You don't want to take me on a desert island and then start to annoy me after the 2nd why. Oh, Cartesian coordinates. All right. So Marissa's up in the ante on our coaching skills now. Yeah, Cartesian coordinates from our diploma of organizational coaching. I would definitely take that on a desert island, but I don't think I would roll it out in a Leader as Coach program, because we really do need people to have really accessible skills, something we can roll out across the entire organization. So I love it, but I wouldn't put it in my top 5. So what rounds off our top 5? Do we take feedback model? Do we take coaching through change? Do we take conflict? Paula, what are you thinking? What would you put in your last thing that you take on a desert island?
If we're talking about your pilot Leader as Coach program, it has to be the feedback model. Because managers really need a way of being able to give that feedback in a way that makes sense to people and builds and makes them want to do better or to change whatever needs to change. So I'm going to vote for the feedback model.
Okay, absolutely. I agree with you, but I have gone with Georgia. I have gone with communications. So and so if you put feedback in under communication tools, then I'd include that. I think we need to help everyone in the workplace, even amongst us as a team. We need to be communicating better, understanding different people's personality types. So and how we coach different people and understand their personality types. So I would go with a communication tool, or I agree with Georgia, I'd go for strengths-based coaching. I would be teaching everyone in the workplace how to bring out the strengths in people, coach people around the strengths. Or I agree with you, I would ask for a bonus, and I'd take a feedback model with me as well. So Yeah, so there you go. Well, a little bit of fun, everyone, just to think about if we were constructing a leader as coach program, if we want to try to enable managers in the workplace, we want to bring out the best in the people in the workplace. It's been a bit of fun today to tap into the alumni and go, what kind of top 5 coaching tools would you include in that program to actually create that force multiplier effect that we're looking for, those everyday conversations. I coach you, they coach 20 people now, as if overnight we've got hundreds of people who are having conversations and making the difference that we're really hoping they can make. So thanks, everyone. It's been a bit of fun just to have a bit of a play with that. Of course, we are doing Leader as Coach programs. You already know that. We have our diploma coming up, a Leader as Coach program coming up. We've got a cert board coming up, and we've got an accredited coach trainer coming up. So plenty, and mental health first aid, plenty of ways that you can connect, grow and develop your own skills or the skills of people around you. So thanks everyone for connecting in today. We say, as always, thanks to everyone who's come back, those regulars and people that have come for the first time, and our returning alumni. Wonderful to see you all. Enjoy your coaching, and we certainly look forward to catching up with you at our next coaching cafe. We would say goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone.